definitive strategy. So they are going to require safety cars and drama. But this is Baku, and here come the lights. 3, 4, 5 red lights in Azerbaijan. And Formula 2 goes racing on the streets of Baku. Perfect getaway for the pole sitter. Behrman will lead. That's a late lunge into turn 1 from Fittipaldi, but he's in second. Pourchaire maintaining third, and it's far better behaved through there today than it was. But this is Formula 2 now heading into turn 2 as they go side by side, and they're sorting out the order. Much more room given across the board here. They know this is a 29-lap race, and they were very well behaved in comparison to yesterday. Behrman with the dream getaway. Behrman with the lead.
Yeah, Behrman taking it down towards turn 3 and on the way out through turn 4. Incredibly well behaved. They must have watched back the difficulties of yesterday throughout the field. Even the leaders with difficulties, but we've got the Camposes side by side then as they head through turn 4.
That's Ralph Boschung up against Kush Maini, and it is Maini in the blue front wing there to tell you the difference, getting past his experienced teammate. He's not the only one. Oh, that was tight on the pinch as they return out of 6 down to 7. And the order, Behrman, Fittipaldi, Pourchaire, Vesti and Martins at the front of the field. Doing in the middle there in car 14 in the Alpine livery, trying to find an option, trying to find a way by. There's Hauger, who was set for another victory in Baku yesterday. Tear-off removed from Victor Martins as they take it up through this flat-out section, then scrub the speed off for turn 15.
So much more grip underfoot on this super soft tyre. Looks to warm up brilliantly, but how long will it last? That's the question. You'll be looking out for very early management here as drivers try to extend this stint and give them a better chance on the medium tyre later. 21 laps achieved yesterday on that medium tyre, so they know it'll go that far. Realistically, they've got to make it to lap 8 or 9 in order to have a safe run into the end of the race.
Théo Pourchaire does not have the benefit of DRS at the moment. He does have the benefit of a slipstream, and look at the effect that it's having as he gets closer, closer, closer still, and wafts one to the inside, but that gap was always going to disappear, and the French driver knew it, trying to complete the move into turn 2. Again, momentum, but no space, as Fittipaldi now driving on his mirrors, allowing Behrman to just extend that gap at the front.
Looks feisty, looks to have instant pace, doesn't he, Théo Pourchaire, as he shapes to the inside once again, heading down towards turn 3.
Now he's got DRS, and that's a different story. Now he's got the position. Pourchaire moving up, didn't have it on the main straight. After one lap this year, we activated as soon as possible in Formula 2, and it benefits the French driver, who makes a tidy pass and gets through into second place. One car between him and a second victory of the year.
Well, Fittipaldi struggling for pace a little bit, I would say, in that road in Carlin, falling just behind Pourchaire, and the bigger problem is he's got Vesti coming up in close proximity as well. Well, this was the most well-behaved start I think I've seen all year. Oliver Behrman got a really nice launch. We've seen that so many times here in Baku. And then it's Jahan Daruvala in the mid-pack, scrapping away with Crawford. But Leinster, and you can see the two Camposes shaping up for what will be an eventual tussle down towards turn 3, the two white cars at the base of your picture. But not a whole lot to say about that. They were Leinster, and here is Daruvala.
The only thing to pick out would be Victor Martins. He's going to be in the blue Alpine liveried car. It's an ART in this championship. He went from 8th on the grid to 5th, and you can see him picking his way through. Just far more confident.
Yeah, committed to the outside of turn 1 and then the inside of turn 2. Here's how it looked from Zane Maloney's perspective. Started 9th, he's still 9th. He's going to try that outside line. He's going to try and follow Victor Martins through in that Alpine liveried blue ART ahead of us, but isn't going to make it. Daruvala cuts off the line. Now we're going to have a look at down the inside, but you can see how much more purchase the cars have got on that super soft tyre.
This is for the lead. Théo Pourchaire dives to the inside at turn 1 and relieves Oliver Behrman of P1 in the race. Pourchaire on the charge, past Fittipaldi, past Behrman, and to the lead of the race. But here's a chance for the Ferrari Academy driver to strike back against the man who belongs to the Sauber programme, and he can't do it in the braking zone. One framer putting pressure on for the podium place, the other one losing the lead. It is Pourchaire to the front of the field, having started P3.
Pourchaire's like Super Mario's driven through a mushroom. He's got so much more speed than the leaders at the front of this race. and he's made a half-second gap immediately from Oliver Bearman, but just seems to be scampering away at the beginning of this one. Here it is, over the rear wing of Bearman. We're going to watch Pourchaire with DRS open. Wow! Different brake. It's like they were braking for a different corner.
Easy does it to the inside, and that was a masterful move from a man who's had a bit of drama down at turn 1 on street tracks so far this year. Cost him a bit of confidence in Jeddah when he had contact with the driver that he was passing late there. No such issues this time. And Pourchaire versus Bearman. Now, crucial laps for Bearman. Bearman in his rookie season, Pourchaire in his third. Experience telling as well. Victor Martins looking very happy on this compounded tyre. The majority of the running, though, going to be done on that medium. And now Pourchaire is trying to break out of DRS range. He needs over a second to do that.
Yeah, this one's not over because we do know how strong that Prema is on the medium compound tyre. What Bearman has to do now is use the DRS to keep him in the action until the pit stops. Hope he has a nice stop, and then I truly believe he'll come charging back at Pourchaire on the medium. No, he won't. He'll come charging back right now as they head down to T1.
Bearman retakes the lead of the feature. It's pass and repass on a vintage Formula 2 weekend. Pourchaire knew there was nothing he could do to fight back, and they might have shortened that DRS zone compared, but yesterday it was a tailwind down there. Today it's a crosswind, and as a result it's more effective than we saw yesterday. Bearman retaking the lead, and Pourchaire will just wait. Fittipaldi staying well there, and this is Hauger going wheel to wheel with Crawford. Is the room for the two Red Bull livery cars, the MP Motorsport car and the MP of Hauger. They're still trying to make their way through, but it's Hauger dropped down to 7th. Crawford maintaining 6th place at the moment.
High-stake stuff from Crawford as Daruvala has a look now round the outside of turn 5, trying to snatch the apex of turn 6, unable to do so, but real brinkmanship there from Crawford down the outside of 3.
So Crawford improving up to 6th position. Down to 7th goes Hauger. Daruvala in 8th. The last of the point scorers, Maloney and Stanek. The fastest lap at the moment belongs to Kushmaini. Only 2 on the mediums are Hajar and championship leader Awasa. This was a repass for the lead. This is Oliver Bearman taking first place.
You're absolutely correct about that wind speed, Alex. Swinging around, but at this moment it was a crosswind down that front straight, which has increased the effectiveness of the DRS, given Bearman the opportunity to make the pass, and actually given Bearman the opportunity to scamper away quickly. Look, 1.2 seconds to the good now over Théo Pourchaire. He's found some speed, broken the DRS and taken off.
Well, big response from Bearman this. Here's Vesti, his teammate.
Come on, we're bigger than Fittipaldi. Need to pass him quick. Come on.
They don't want to lose time out to Bearman out front, and always thinking about where exactly they're going to come out in the order as well. As they head down towards turn 1 once more. Vesti and Bearman, the glass of the field in terms of pace yesterday. Fittipaldi, I would say, the driver in terms of speed, struggling with most of this leading 4, although he's still a little quicker than Martins, who's sitting in 5th, but Vesti will be looking to make that move in short order.
There was, what's that? I don't think, just outside, now 0.8 of a second for Pourchaire, so he's fighting his way back into DRS after Bearman made a bolt for it. He really did try to break away from the pack there, but Pourchaire has just stayed within the margin required. They're fiddling their way through to where the window opens, where you can make your mandatory pit stop, and we'll see a flurry of activity. You've got to get to the end of lap 6 before you make the mandatory stop in Formula 2 to get rid of the super soft tyres and to put on the medium for the majority in the field.
I suspect Bearman overmanaged a bit in the early laps, and then Pourchaire made that move for the lead and reminded him he was in a race. Then I suspect the team over the radio reminded him he was in a race as well. He's now demonstrating the ultimate pace of that Prema. Maybe even a strategic change on the Prema pit wall. Perhaps they were thinking of going a little longer, realised that they weren't going to be able to drive the car around out front and also manage the tyre, so they've snapped back into that early pit stop and take the medium-long strategy that we suspect most of the field are going to be adopting.
We were momentarily on board with Daruvala, who has 17 podiums in this category to his name, and he will be trying to fight through on the medium tyres as well. And this is a circuit where you do get a lot of yellow flags, virtual safety cars, full safety cars, and the intervention can come at any moment, as we saw with a late crash at turn 15 yesterday. Now the fastest lap of the race for Oliver Behrman. At the end of this lap, you can pit and change tyres. There does appear to be a few drivers out there struggling on the super soft compound, the softest available in the Formula 2 range that we'll use all year long. And Hauger is car number one. Norwegian driver is putting the pressure on Crawford ahead. Crawford having taken that position, and Pourchaire, having taken the lead a couple of laps ago, is now watching in the mirrors as Fittipaldi heaps the pressure on him.
It's a battle of the Red Bull livery cars. So Hauger looking relatively evenly matched with Crawford ahead, or at least with the DRS, able to hang in and able to continue to look at a move. Behrman is desperately trying, isn't he, to launch clear of Théo Pourchaire. A driver as experienced in a Formula 2 car as Théo Pourchaire, I doubt is going to let him do that. That in turn is dragging Fittipaldi up the road. And after his hurry up over the radio, the driver now in this top four looking most under pressure is Vesti, interestingly enough, with Martins on his gearbox. I sense these drivers are all waiting somewhat for the pit stop. It's going to be a matter of who can take this super soft tyre longest. We know that the overcut is available. We know how hard it's going to be to warm the medium tyre up. If you're able to hold a bit of soft tyre in reserve, thinking about it, it's going to move you a long way up the road in terms of track position, while your rivals are skidding around, desperately trying to build temperature into the hard tyre, in a track temperature which is even lower than they were suffering with the hard tyre yesterday. I should say the medium, but the harder of the two.
So really, let's deal with this possible overtake first of all. No, Vesti's not interested in it at all. He's run out of tyres. That clears the way for Victor Martins, who now improves up to fourth. So Vesti going for the benefit nice and early, but it's going to take a while for him to generate that tyre temperature, to reel it in as well. So they're going for the benefit of new rubber. They'll go through the pain, first of all, of generating that tyre temperature. But Vesti did not have the pace that he wanted there. Not a surprise to see him switch at the earliest possible opportunity.
We've got Leclerc, Boschon and Doohan also in the pit lane, making the early switch onto the medium tyre. This is not a beneficial strategy unless there's some sort of stoppage in a very specific window where they pitted and the rest of the field have not. But this is the difficult strategy. This is the painful one, because they'll lose time at track position while they're getting these tyres up to temperature. A very important phase for all of these drivers. This is the key moment of time swing for them.
Yeah, this is it, especially if you're in a battle for the lead. The five cars were separated by 3.5 seconds before the lap that Vesti stopped. So Vesti now bringing the tyre temperature in, trying to generate it himself. There's no tyre blankets in Formula 2, so that is all driver generated. And meanwhile, at full racing speed, the top three not separated by much. And Fittipaldi, after a tough day yesterday on the medium tyre, looking much happier. Is he going to be able to run long and take that super soft tyre the furthest?
It's been a smart drive by Fittipaldi.
What can we do back this lap? Yeah, confirm, mate. Box this lap.
He's going to head towards the pit lane, but he's kept himself in contention using the DRS without necessarily the pace of the leading pair. Now he's going to cut to the pit lane, pop a set of medium tyres on, which is not as helpful as it might be, but even still, he's driven himself, he's kept himself in the hunt from his second position. Grid box, is that Victor Martins? It is Victor Martins in the background, dropping into the pit lane behind him.
Crawford as well, coming in, having had a long battle with Hauger, so the American driver comes into the pits, and first of all, the Rodin Carlin being serviced by the team.
It's a very strategically simple race, this one. But what's very important is this pit stop. Martin's looking to have a slow stop there.
Crucially kept track position though over Crawford. That's important. So he's still got a little bit of space to warm tyres how he would want to, rather than having to fight another cut.
Yeah, where you might lose tenths at full racing speed, you'll lose seconds in these early laps.
Let's watch this lap.
Yes. Behrman the leader then in. I would imagine Teo Pourchaire will either follow suit, might try the overcut, might try to go one more. They both had similar pace last time around. Oliver Bearman slightly faster. As we see what's going to become of Jehan Daruvala. Big slide through the exit of 15, no harm done.
So Daruvala on board. Listen in. Hatchet on the exit.
Light it up, baby.
Lap 8 of 29. And that is a Prema running out of tyres. You can see it from the exit of turn 16 for our race leader, Oliver Bearman. Fantastic battle early on with Teo Pourchaire before they all came over sensible and decided to hold on. Sector 2, there's a yellow flag. There's a yellow flag. Surely they will both come into the pits, mirror what each other's do. And deep goes the PHM of Brad Benavides. And he spun that round really nicely. Benavides will be able to rejoin, and that means no intervention for a virtual safety car or a full safety car, which is crucial when making your pit stop. In comes Bearman from the race lead. He's brought Teo Pourchaire with him as well. Kushmaini is staying out on track, so he becomes the race leader. He takes Hadjar, who's on that strategy, and Awasa as well. He's having a weekend to forget. But this is crucial. And Prema respond with a tidy pit stop. So do ART, and now we look to the track to see where they are in relative to the other three cars. They were battling for these major positions, and there's no one in the near picture. This has worked out perfectly for Bearman and Pourchaire.
Yeah, nicely done strategically. They were a long way ahead in realistic terms, weren't they? When they came in the pit lane. Look at Teo Pourchaire working out that if he just puts energy through the tyre, he'll save so much in the corners. As we have, is that Stanek leaving the pit lane, and for sure as Correa.
Correa sending one to the inside, trying to scrub off the speed and going, you know what, I'll turn it into an overtake. Through goes Juan Manuel Correa.
A lot of these medium compound tyres already scrubbed. They scrubbed them in practice on Friday, which is why they have that kind of matte surface to them. And Jehan Daruvala thinks, yep, thanks very much. And that's the difference between a tyre which is at temperature and a tyre which is coming just out of the pit lane.
That's what we've been telling you about. Wonderful illustration of what they're dealing with temperature-wise in the opening corners after a pit stop. So Bearman with the net race lead. Pourchaire 2.3 seconds behind. Fittipaldi a long way back. Martin's stuck behind him, trying to force his way through, but those who went longer getting that benefit.
Yeah, Fittipaldi, though, has been through the phase of building tyre temperature, which is why he's so far back. They'll now gain that back again while Bearman and Pourchaire pick up tyre temp. We've got a yellow flag down in sector 1. Yet to see what the cause of that is. There are very few drivers now who haven't made their stop. We're still waiting for Hadjar. We're still waiting for Vachor.
Oh, and that's Jehan Daruvala with a late lunge at turn 16, which tells you his tyres are exactly where they need to be, because normally he'd wait for the main straight, but he's in no mood to wait around. Vesti being held up by Vachor. There is Vachor and Vachor in 9th position. Then it's Vesti. Kushmaini coming to the pits now. And just two drivers out there. Then the two drivers on the alternative strategy. Here is the move through. And that's Vesti clearing Vachor. Crawford's trying to go with as well. And that's Kushmaini getting out. Virtual safety car is deployed. So we did see a yellow flag a few moments ago, and now the virtual safety car's deployed. And we'll take a breath with the race neutralised and the drivers. And there we are, Benavides, who went deep at turn 15, is off the road again, and that brings out the virtual safety car.
He's had a bit of an adventurous weekend, hasn't he? Bless him, Benavides. Difficulties throughout the weekend with this street circuit.
Hearing this is down at turn 4, so I wonder if he's gone deep in and been unable to rotate his way out again.
Yeah, he's picked up the medium tyre and had difficulty in warming it up, and then the flip turn, which I thought he put together beautifully down at turn 2, was not quite the same.
Yeah, unable to replicate turn 4.
So here's the move by Daruvala on Zane Maloney. Very neat, tidy stuff through the exit of turn 16. No doubt he was enjoying the attentions of Maloney towards turn 1 with the Toyo was dishing out. But Isaac Hatchar then, in the real terms, in the practical terms, lead of the race. He's on the alternative strategy, as is championship leader still, Ayumu Iwasa, who's having a very quiet weekend in the dams. Behind him, but we're still expecting to see them in the pit lane. We'll be expecting to see them in the pit lane in another 10 laps or so, making it reasonably likely, I would say, that Behrman, who is 12 seconds back from Iwasa, could catch them, have to make their way through that little bit of traffic, but it shouldn't be too much aggravation for them. Benavides' car moved back behind the wall.
So thanks to all the marshals there going to work, and in a few seconds' time we'll get the message that that sector is clear and the green flag will fly once again around the Baku City Circuit. Lap 11 of 29, just 2 drivers out there yet to make their mandatory stop, and even if they wanted to try something more audacious, maybe try a 2-stopper, can't make a mandatory stop under the virtual safety car, so they're continuing out there. They don't really have the steps to try anything like that. Temperature phase is complete. You can see how much, about 5 seconds, that Fittipaldi was back at one stage from Teo Porcher. You can see, there he is, coming through the final turn. But we're focusing on Oliver Behrman. Got to react well here. This is effectively the race leader, and he's got to time it nicely. We've seen positions change a lot with virtual safety cars. And the green flag is out. We're back racing once again. And Martins looks like he is ready to mount a challenge to Fittipaldi ahead.
Yeah, all drivers will have bled a lot of temperature out of those front tyres and brakes, and this will be a tricky few corners for them in close proximity to their rivals. Victor Martins still trying to make this move on Fittipaldi, who's kept himself in the hunt. But you know, it could, with a late race safety car, the 2-stopper would not be a stupid idea. They have got 2 sets of tyres they've used from practice, only one of which, in qualifying, the Supersoft, only one of which they've used so far in this race. With the difficulties we saw with a low gauge medium tyre, it would be a smart move, potentially, with 4 or 5 laps to go, even if you lost total track position to come in for the Supersoft.
I am racking my brain. I can only remember one race where a contender at the front made a 2-stopper. That was Sergei Sorokin, Hockenheim. Won the race. He was so fast. He pitted under a marginal virtual safety car. It didn't count as his mandatory stop. He said, okay, cool, I'll make a second stop, and he still won the race. Amazing day at Hockenheim in 2016. So it has been done in the past. We're just cycling through the options for the drivers out front. The only reason they're on that strategy, this is the most obvious strategy we've ever seen in modern Formula 2 of which way to go after yesterday's evidence. Those guys have had pace this year. Iwasa not this weekend. Curious weekend for the really highly rated Japanese driver. And Hadjard had really good pace in practice, but hit the wall in qualifying, compromised his whole weekend.
Yeah, and they took that strategy because they recognised that they were out of position to really go racing down towards turn 1. So thought, you know what, I'm just going to cruise in, go long, see what happens, because the difficulty on the medium tyre is such that you can't really commit. I think they did a really good job of keeping it out of trouble as we jump on board with Victor Martins, sitting in 6th place, still staring at the back of the Rodin Carlin of Fittipaldi.
So where do we place Victor Martins' mindset at this stage of his rookie campaign? Because he's been competitive every single round, but if you look at his results so far this year, a 3rd, a 2nd, and no points finishes in the other races.
Always at the front, always pushing. There have been some difficulties for him through the year. I think you just got to keep going at this stage and recognise that it's going to come good and keep trying to score points. But it's one of those where there was an opportunity squandered, I believe, a little bit at the beginning of the year, where ART appeared to have such a dominant car. And his misfortune was he's across the garage from Teo Porcher, who had so much experience, who had so much speed, that actually he was scooping up all of those points and putting them in his bucket. Victor Martins now, I think, has to grow through this year and then snatch the opportunity when, no doubt, as are the ebbs and flows of Formula 2, the ART finds itself as the dominant car again.
So Victor Martins looking for his first point-scoring finish since the sprint race in Jeddah. It's a 5-second time penalty for our championship leader and man currently in second place, but yet to stop Ayumu Iwasa for a virtual safety car infringement. And that is in keeping with the weekend he's had so far. This is turning into one to forget about for our championship leader for now. Daruvala again. Loving this medium tyre, and there's your evidence. Say goodnight, past Crawford, and Daruvala up to 11th position. Driver who's been on the podium previous years here, really should have won the sprint race here last year, but for a late safety car intervention and passing for fun out there. There's another one for his showroom.
We chalked it up to the fact that he just had warmer tyres because he pitted slightly early, but I think he's just super fast as Vesti shapes to the inside of Miney. But it would be a very, very late lunge down there. He's being held up a little bit by Miney in this stage.
Yeah, all for track position though, so there's Vesti recovering places. We saw him stuck behind for sure, and Vesti, through that pit stop phase, has been shuffled a long way backwards, and that was all coming in first. He came in at the first opportunity, others who stayed out there longer have jumped him, and now when we get to the comparative pace, when they're all roughly at the same tyre life, he's picking his way back through, but compromised race when he was about 10 seconds from victory yesterday. Had that moment in the first sector, his teammate got past, strong second yesterday, but you could tell that he knew that was the one that got away, and today it is damage limitation. Teammate up there in third, that's the net race lead. Vesti trying to pick his way through and trying to fight those in the top five once again.
He's having one of those frustrating weekends, Vesti, where you've got the pace, but things just keep on happening, this being another one. Prema really gave him the hurry up over the radio at the start of the race, potentially used a bit too much tyre as a result, then has to pit early, loses a couple of positions, then loses a little more time while he's recovering those track positions, and that's the issue. But we return to the front of the field in virtual terms, well, in real terms, but Behrman versus Pourchaire, and it's hotting up again, isn't it, as Vesti continues to make that move, and I believe he'll do so down towards T1.
So Vesti has now picked his way through all of the drivers that he lost out to in that sequence, and Daruvala gathering it together all over the curve, great momentum, but all over the curve, then taking avoiding action, and Daruvala's passing is all for nothing. He's dropped back, he's going to have to do it all over again, but he's lucky to still be in the race.
That makes them wince when they come back on. I would imagine Zane Maloney had to make a little bit of avoiding action there down in turn one and did a really good job. Interesting one you may have just seen on your screen. Graphic Trident under investigation for not following the pit stop procedures. Let's just cover this off with Daruvala. Gets himself wrong-footed down towards turn one, and then it's super slippery and dirty on the exit. I think he's just in front of Zane Maloney. He has a bit more time to have a look at it, but yeah, difficult move for Daruvala, and all the good work squandered down in T1, unfortunately.
So a lot of tight battles going on now. It's, what was that? That was so close to the wall for Behrman, if not brushing the Pirelli logo off it there. He saw how close Pourchaire was able to get last time around, and he's really trying to respond, but he is not leaving anything out there. Chasing the double around this circuit. 15 laps to go. That would be a statement if he was to win both races. And Pourchaire trying to take his second win of the year. Same applies to Behrman, the young talent. Pourchaire and Behrman, similar stories into Formula 2 as 17-year-olds, rookie winners. And Pourchaire, runner-up last year, trying to come back and win it all in 2023. Behrman, just like Victor Martins, fast everywhere so far, but without those results to show for it until this weekend. As we tick beyond the halfway, intriguing battle for the win between Behrman and Pourchaire when Hadjar and Iwasa find themselves making their mandatory stop.
I think that's a factor of housekeeping when you see drivers with pace like that don't quite get the results they really deserve to reward their pace. Things like, are you nailing the starts? Are you parking up straight in the pit box to give your team the best opportunity to change all four tyres? Those little bits of housekeeping can change your event as much as anything else. Let's have a look at Oliver Bearman. I think he's going to get super close to the tyres on the outside of turn 15. They're both pushing on. The reason he's pushing on is that particular lap, Théo Pourchaire set the fastest lap for the Reds, so he's pushing extremely hard as well in the ART behind.
What a crush the ball. Millimetres away. Fittipaldi with the fastest lap of the race, having his best run for Rodin Carlin since he switched to the team for this year. And it is tight throughout the field. Drivers now beginning to push more and more on this medium tyre. Track temperature going up and up and up. We're at very close to midday local time. And as we head into the afternoon, we're going to see more and more attacking laps as the drivers measure their way through this first part of the second stint. But we are seeing the gaps close in now. Mighty, once again, doing a great job of forgetting about a difficult qualifying result. Did it yesterday. He's done it again today to get himself in the mix at the front. He's running ahead of Hauger. Fastest lap, Oliver Bearman, trying to keep Pourchaire at bay.
Some brilliant and utterly invisible tyre management going on. Not to grain the medium tyre straight out of the pits. It's obviously cold. If that tyre slips across the racetrack, it tears the rubber off the front. The tyre never recovers. The way that these young drivers have built that tyre from zero temperature up to now pushing and setting fastest laps of the race on it without damaging it takes so much skill and consideration in a way that sitting at home we never can appreciate. It is such a difficult thing to do without just scrapping the two front tyres straight out of the pits.
The insights from two-time Le Mans podium finisher Alex Brundle with us throughout this Formula 2 season to walk you through the key moments that decide races. We've been through a few of them at the start, certainly in that pit stop phase as well. And it is lap 16 of 29. Daruvala was noted for a unsafe rejoin, but that was
down at turn 1.
That was down at turn 1. It's under investigation. That's not been noted. It's under investigation. So they're looking at that one. Did he give enough care to rejoining the circuit, which you noted, Alex? And Richard Shaw as well has been pinged for driving erratically, which usually means weak.
Yeah, it's two moves, isn't it? To defend the position normally. The erratic driving accusation. But we'll see how that one plays out. I think Daruvala might escape that one purely on the basis that, I mean, what is he supposed to do? He's carrying it.
He's got to rejoin, and he's run out of options
really to rejoin. It just makes me draw my shoulders up to my ears and make a screwed up face when they come on at an angle to the traffic like that.
I usually do that when I start talking anyway. So he's now trying to
sit behind you.
undo the damage in the orange MP Motorsport car. He's trying to clear a couple of Red Bull Juniors here. He used to be part of the programme himself as well, formerly of the Framer team, now with the champion team of last year. First time they took the title last year, MP Motorsport. They've restructured over the last few years, and they've got Hauger and Daruvala driving for them this year. Both have been on the podium, and we have seen victory for Hauger. Could have been 2 yesterday, got away late on. That's a feeling that Daruvala knows from 1 year ago when the race was won, and then it wasn't. So it's always one that goes to the flag. The stewards have gone for a 10-second time penalty for Daruvala for leaving the track and rejoining unsafely.
Well, that's their consideration. They have more camera angles than we do. I think that's harsh, honestly, but it's a big deal. You can have a very nasty incident doing that. Drivers obviously in control of how they rejoin the circuit. And I would imagine there's been some discussion with the team of Zane Malone, who was rejoining, well, not rejoining, who was continuing on the circuit and found himself having to make a evasive action, I'd imagine, for Johan Daruvala coming at a different angle onto the circuit. So it'd be good to see another angle of that, actually.
Lap 18 of 29. Kushmini lighting it up, coming out of turn 16. There's rubber for days down there now. Fantastic sound of this engines. Turbocharged on the way down Flames being spat out of the back. The wonderful, unique facet of these Formula 2 cars. Mercedes Junior and Vesti getting rid of a tear-off strip as he powers down to turn number 1. And this run for Hauger, all course from the exit at turn 16 for Mike.
Yeah, Mike, a little bit of a swapper, and then you're absolutely flat and loaded as well to add to the potential loss through 18 and 19. And it's put Hauger right on the gearbox of Miney. Having a look then down towards turn 3, staying in the toe for as long as possible. Hauger looking to the inside, but that tailwind swinging around all the time here, and it's so interesting. The wind now, a headwind down the front straight and a tailwind down towards turn 3. This is what happened to Jahan Daruvala.
Yeah, so let's review this. He's going to go deep. He's going to take evasive action. The 10-second penalty is the way he rejoins now.
Yeah, so this is the moment where I would imagine the stewards would be unhappy about the fact he's not looked left there. Not that you can see a huge amount out of a car like this. But, yeah, I think straight up, okay. Yeah, now I can understand the penalty much more with that angle. Available.
Back to the never-ending story of Oliver Bearman through turn 15 and a brush with the wall that time.
It's almost the line, isn't it?
It is this weekend.
Through the exit of 15. Very, very Gran Turismo.
Not really much left of that free block by the end of the weekend. It has taken some punishment across Formula 2 and Formula 1.
Sit it against some wall, put some sellotape over the X button and send it.
So Bearman doing a good job to gap Teo Porcher. It's 2.2 seconds at the moment. Then you've got Fittipaldi back. He fastest lap of the race belonging to Victor Martins, who's trying to get that gap down. He's the closest in the battle, 1.5 seconds away now. You don't want to get to the end of the race having over-managed, but there is a telling amount of tyre marbles off the racing line here and off the racing line in the flat-out section at the back of the circuit.
Yeah, and it becomes more and more difficult to make those moves offline, more and more easy to get on those marbles, lock a brake and just career straight into the side of the car you're trying to pass. Interestingly, out front, after being 4 tenths back just a matter of laps ago, Teo Porcher has really fallen away from Oliver Bearman through this phase. The pace of the Prema playing out. The battle that you're watching is Hauger versus Miney. That's over 8th place. Hauger in the green bewinged Red Bull liveried car. Miney in his white Campos, dropping them back. This is Crawford and Maloney, who's the man you saw ducking around the outside of Jahan Daruvala as he rejoined the circuit. That's the battle over the opportunity for the final points. This is 12th and 11th.
Yeah, 12th and 11th at the moment. Top 10 scoring in this one. 10-point system as Formula 1 on a Sunday. And Hadjar and Oasa still need to make their stop. Oasa with that penalty for a virtual safety car infringement. Bearman with good control over the lead at the moment is very much had this thought for about 10 laps now, but dare not say because of Baku. But basically, this really does feel like a field that have been warned by their teams after yesterday. Lessons appear to be learnt out there.
Yeah, they took it sensible, didn't they, down to turn 1, and now built temperature into the median. I think it's a factor also of so many times you hear it trotted out in the feeder series paddock about the rookie drivers. By the end of the feature race, he pretty much got the hang of it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a great amount of truth in it that actually there's so little track time for these drivers that so many of the errors they make early in the races even or in through practice and qualifying are down to lack of familiarity with the circuit. Now they've done a race distance, so they recognise some of the pitfalls and adjust their driving accordingly. So I suspect a confluence of team discussion and driver knowledge there.
Isaac Hadjar in the lead, the driver who started in 18th position, yet to make his mandatory stop, hoping that it no longer remains well behaved out there. Story of the race so far, immaculate first lap for the field. They were looking for confidence after yesterday. They got it. There's those telling tyre marbles halfway through. Then a good swap for the lead. Teo Porcher roaring past Oliver Behrman. Oliver Behrman responding, taking back that lead. It's the net race lead that he still holds. Vesti lost out in the pit stop phase, dropped down behind a whole slew of cars, including Crawford, Bashaw, Hauger and Miney, who's picked his way back through as a result. That is really the story so far as we tick into the final stages.
The interesting thing is Hadjar and Iwasa have not actually lost that much to the leader of the race. The medium tire just staying in and in and in.
Yeah.
And given the gaps back, they might aim to come out. Whether they'll stay because they'll have to build tyre temperature, but it'll be better on the super soft.
Yeah.
But towards the back end of the top 10, such has been the battling of the drivers in the top 10, as we see Leclerc rearranging the tech program. Just keeps it out of
Doing his best to avoid. Doing his best to avoid. Fittipaldi now in the fastest lap of the race. Good result. Good drive so far. Not yet result for Fittipaldi. As he's, I think, 9 seconds away from Porsche. His best showing by far with the Rodin Carlin team. He started today 15th in the point standings. He scored points 4 times this year, yet to stand on the podium this season. Overall, in his career, he's been able to do that a couple of times. 6 times in his rookie season, he was on the roster.
Yeah. Certainly, in terms of this championship with Carlin, he's taken a massive step forward. Really was the leading light in the Shrews throughout last year.
And it's a different pressure, isn't it, going into your second year as a driver. Every result is a rookie, a bit of a bonus, especially when they're podiums, especially when it's a team that doesn't traditionally run at the front, which has been the case. No disrespect meant to that team, but that is just the fact that we see on the board of the results. But then it's a different pressure to do it every week.
Yeah, there's a certain nothing to lose about jumping in a car that you might not expect to be at the front, and then you take a fifth, and take a sixth, or even take a podium, and everybody in the pit lane claps and goes, fantastic. You know, you put that car where it might not have been, then the expectation comes when you're in a car in a position to perform. But performing's doing throughout this year. All got the added pressure of becoming a Red Bull Junior driver this year as well, which is a different world outside the car. You're in the system, you're required to perform, you're accountable to someone other than yourself for your performances, which is a massive psychological change. So, potentially a difficult start, or a more difficult start to the year than he might have been expecting, as a driver that many tipped as one of the favourites for the championship before the season began. But he's coming good as the championship goes on.
It's such a spread of talent out here this
Everyone,
year
let's hope.
that fourths and fifths, they're all consistent. Two great drivers to show this, actually. Because we're looking at the moment with Hauger, who's had terrific pace, looks in a much happier place with MP than he did last year in his rookie season with Prema, even though he was a multiple race winner last year, including at this circuit. Hauger's had good pace, but Hauger finds himself behind Kushmani, not only on track, but in the championship as well. Thanks to Kushmani's superb consistency, he's taken a podium, the Indian driver, in his rookie season. He's also scored points in all but one race.
There's always that sage wisdom, another piece of feeder series paddock wisdom. Yeah. If you only finished fifth in every race, mate, you'd win the championship by X number of points. The problem is, if you try and finish fifth in every race, you end up finishing 12th. Because the problem is the competitiveness is such that if you're not trying to win, you'll be long outside the top 10.
It's like playing for a draw in football. It's never going to work.
It's not possible. So you've got to go for it. And that's what gives you those scenarios in the championship, for example, like with where we know he's got race winning potential, but he finds himself outside the top 6 of the championship, sitting in 8th and 30 points, because he's gone for it. He's had to go for it, and it's not always worked out.
Yeah, yesterday felt sorry for him. First car on the scene. Always difficult on a restart to know where to place it. Finding the Tech Pro, wasn't the only one to do that as well. Victor Martins followed him in there as well. And then unfairly biffed out of it on the restart in Australia. So a large amount of points not scored for Hauger. But he you've got to take your chance on your day. Teo Pourchaire at the moment racking up another second place in the feature race to advance in the championship. He knows, Pourchaire, that his nearest and closest rival, or his closest rivals, I should say, are finding themselves having difficult days. Hauger looking at mining. Vesti is racing Pourchaire for the championship lead today. At the moment it's going to Teo Pourchaire, who's going to be P2. It's coming under pressure from Fittipaldi. So two Red Bull livery cars on the march. One is an MP Motorsport car. He's the one chasing us. And it's Kushmani there. There we go. Dennis Hauger trying to take the place away. And then further up the order for second place, Fittipaldi now inside DRS with the fastest lap of the race. A much better balance, a much better understanding today with the Rodin Carlin team. And can he put the pressure on Pourchaire, who will know that Iwasa still has to make his stop? He's going to drop out of the points. He will know that Vesti is behind him. How hard is Pourchaire going to fight that one?
Midway through this stint, Pourchaire just started to submarine away from Ben at the front, and Fittipaldi really took off, which put Pourchaire in a position where he's actually under quite a lot of pressure for second place in this race with 6 laps to go. So the second place not sure at all for Teo Pourchaire. And if they have a really messy fight, Victor Martins is only another 2.5 seconds down the road as well, setting personal best first and middle sectors. He is slightly faster, actually, than Teo Pourchaire. So Pourchaire, they've got a few laps to go here, and he's on the limit of keeping the podium, bizarrely, after pressuring the leader of the race early on.
Could be a good day in the championship, though, for Teo Pourchaire, and Fittipaldi will know who he's racing. He will know that if he gets a run, Pourchaire will think points rather than podium. There's the defence. Fittipaldi knows he's got a big opportunity here. He'll get DRS on the other side of the next corner, and Pourchaire is driving on his mirrors. So much more grip, so much more confidence for the young Brazilian driver, originally based in Miami in the last couple of years, but he always likes moving to where the team is based. He's lived in Maranello. He moved to the Czech Republic last year. Now he is based in the UK, and he's trying to take second position all the way around the outside. Is he given room to turn the outside line to the inside line? Enzo Fittipaldi moving up to a net P2 in the race. He's taken 4th on the road with a fine move. Can he get the power down? He can. That will be satisfying for the Brazilian driver.
Satisfying for Fittipaldi. Brave stuff and very fair stuff, it must be said, from Teo Pourchaire around the outside of 3. Knows he doesn't have the grip, and it's Victor Martins only 1.2 seconds behind now. His teammate at ART jumping in with Daruvala. He's going to make the move again on Zane Maloney, the man he jumped out ahead of, but Daruvala carrying that 10-second penalty, of course, so will not in real terms take that position.
And this was the move for what will become second position. Only 4th at the moment. 2 cars still to stop ahead, though, and that was fair racing from the 2 of them. Great stuff to see Pourchaire having to think of the championship, and even if he was thinking of the championship, I'm not sure he's got any tyres left.
Adjar still practically leading the race. They left him out there as long as possible, waiting for something, anything, to give him the opportunity to gain track position back again. He looks to come out just at the back end of the top 10 with 5 laps to go on a set of super soft tyres. Could do something from there. Depends how quickly he can get them up and running and how fast he is on them. Although the performance of the field early in this race, I know they're full of fuel, the performance of the field early in this race on the super soft tyre was not that much better than the medium. So they will be much newer, though, of course.
No,
so let's see what he's got.
That tyre really is a qualifying tyre. Slow at the back. But back into the race with the high-tech team. Yeah, the super soft tyre is just a qualifying tyre. It's losing performance by the end of even one push lap.
Yeah, so that's Hauger just going by. So he's going to come out just in front of Bashore.
Yeah.
But
Bashore will swallow him up surely with the tyres up to temperature and into the DRS zone. So still a little bit of that process to go through for Hadjar. This battle has not ended between Fittipaldi, now in 3rd position, Pourchaire now in 4th, Martins now in 5th place. And Vesti miles back, getting shuffled back in that pit stop phase, compromising his race, and he will wonder what might have been, certainly with the pace of his teammate ahead. Fairman has to be aware of what happened in the feature here last year when we had a driver well on the way to victory late mistake, and it all changed. It was Vips and Hauger then. It is Behrman with the net race lead ahead of Fittipaldi at the moment. Just Owasso to stop. They're just leaving him out there as long as possible.
So easy to lose concentration and make a mistake, especially around a circuit like this. Meanwhile, Pourchaire has used DRS to lasso the airbox of that Rodin Carlin and stay on the gearbox of Fittipaldi, which in turn is keeping him out of trouble from Martins for now. Hadjar's pit stop has been noted, failing to follow the race director's instructions.
That could be the entry. That could be the entry of the sort of mini chicane that they've got on the way in there. The race director's instructions will always say that you can't cut certain lines.
Yeah.
And now Owasso is into the pits. So Oliver Behrman reassumes the lead that he took back from Théo Pourchaire a while back now, about 40 minutes ago. And it's Théo Pourchaire trying to turn third back into second. Owasso, our championship leader. You're going to get rounds like this. You always get rounds like this. It's inevitable. The important thing is how you bounce back at the next event.
Yeah, and I'm relatively sure they will get to the end of this weekend at Dams for Owasso and find some sort of fundamental problem. A diff built, not as they expected, or a crack in the chassis they didn't know was there, or something similar, because you don't just see drivers of his quality absolutely nowhere in a field like this. Chill out.
It's a good job you're in the commentary box and not on the pit wall.
Yeah, 3 laps to go. The message he needs is you could lose a second a lap and still win the race.
It's a nice sentence to hear. If you're a friend, family or fan of Oliver Behrman, who is announcing himself in style at this circuit. We've seen it in the past here. We've seen drivers ignite a championship bid. Antonio Giovinazzi in the past around here. No real confidence until he turned up in Baku. He blew the opposition away. He did the double then, and he fought Pierre Gasly for the GP2 championship all the way to the end. 1 year later, Charles Leclerc with an extraordinary performance to dominate the field on track. He lost the sprint win through a technicality, and the weekend that he lost his father, and the tenacity of that performance was noted by the Ferrari Academy. We're seeing another incredibly strong performance by a Prema driver, part of the Ferrari Driver Academy. Just 17 years of age, the second youngest winner yesterday, a few laps away from doing the double. And the list of drivers who have done the double in the second tier, well, you know their names. They are very impressive drivers. They include Rosberg, Hamilton, Hulkenberg, and your predecessor, Davide Valsecchi.
You say chill out. But he actually did really...
You said chill out. Hold on a minute.
He actually led 7/10 of a lap to Fittipaldi that time around. Pourchaire might get him out of trouble if he's able to give Fittipaldi a little bit of hassle. But it was the fastest first sector of the race last time around from Fittipaldi. Taking another 10th out of Behrman in the first sector of this lap. He's holding fast, Ollie Behrman, but yeah, maybe doesn't need to keep on pushing on a little bit in the closing stages.
And the great thing about this is that these are drivers who are, and I mean this, let's finish the whole sentence here, they're incomplete. That's the magic of this championship. They're still learning as they're going. They're roughing off the edges as they continue. They're learning their trade on the Grand Prix weekend. Yes, in the livery of some of the Formula One teams that they would love to drive for in the future. That's a Sauber Academy driver chasing a Red Bull Junior, being pursued by an Alpine Academy prospect and Formula 3 champion. It is on the weekend, but you can understand Oliver Behrman, who won with an audacious late move via his teammate's mistake yesterday, and the top two going off in front of him, now faces the entirely different prospect of closing out a feature race win. There he is in your picture, car number 8 on the penultimate tour of the circuit.
Yeah, those connections are there through to that Formula One seat, and I don't think that's ever been more evident than yesterday, when basically the full management of the Ferrari team was standing there waiting for Oliver Behrman, not underneath the podium, not traipsing out of the garage to give him a quick clap. They were standing there waiting for him as he entered the pit lane in that car to deliver the victory. Jahan Daruvala's exploits continue down towards turn 1. And he's trying to desperately, at least on the road, get into the points. That's Jack Crawford ahead of him.
Victor Martins is close to Teo Pourchaire. Pourchaire has now lost the DRS defence benefit. Martins is trying to recover to the podium. If Martins can get through, it means that every point scoring finish he's got this year will be on the rostrum, which really tells the story of Martin's season. Great pace, but quite a lot of action to go with it as well. Behrman going up 25 points as it stands. Best ever result for Rodin Carlin. For Fittipaldi, having really adjusted nicely from yesterday, where it looked like he might struggle today on the evidence. It shows you, teams learn, teams do their homework, teams improve. The ones who put the hours in get the reward. That's what Fittipaldi is staring at the moment. And Pourchaire is looking in the left mirror and looking in the right mirror as we look at the battles further down the field.
Just a massive amount of data coming out of the cars after yesterday. Consideration of all of the limited factors that teams are actually allowed to change on these Formula 2 cars, which makes each individual factor so important. Every millimetre of ride height, every pound per square inch of tyre pressure becomes even more critical when they're the only things that you're allowed to adjust.
On board with Victor Martins. Keep an eye on Isaac Hadjar. He's got the fastest lap at the moment. If Hauger loses much more time, about 2 seconds a lap faster, Hadjar, on those super soft tyres, so he could close in. But Hadjar doing well to run a strategy that no one fancied and run it into the points from 18th on the grid.
Yeah, when you look at the fact that he was line astern with Iwasa, who now sits in 14th in the practical race lead earlier on. Hadjar's done a storming job on that super soft tyre.
Showing the pace that he had overall. That is another DRS zone loss for Victor Martins in his pursuit in the final place on the podium. And after all this racing, after only a virtual safety car intervention extraordinarily in this contest, look at how close the top 4 are.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of showing off and jumping in each other's mirrors and trying to outfox each other, but the big move hasn't been made. I suspect just a little bit of championship management going on from all 3 of them. Perhaps less so from Martins, who only appears to have the pace for Pourchaire with the DRS open. Let's see, Fittipaldi looks to have just backed Pourchaire back into his DRS zone, which will help him across the line. But it's been a good battle between these 3. A great drive from Fittipaldi and a return to form for Teo Pourchaire.
It's a bit of a strange spectacle yesterday on the last lap, with the top 3 going through the pit lane to take the flag. But today it's a traditional finish, and what a performance for Oliver Behrman, who isn't scrapping with these 3 who are fighting for the final places on the podium. Victor Martins' attempt will just fall short. But what a weekend to announce yourself in FIA Formula 2 for the 17-year-old Oliver Behrman, who won the sprint race yesterday, and now he looks up and sees the checkered flag as the winner of the feature. Oliver Behrman does the double in Baku. What a weekend for the British driver. It was tight to the line, but it's Fittipaldi in second place. Teo Pourchaire takes P3 and loads of points for the championship. Victor Martins finds himself in 4th, and then it's Vesti leading another brilliant recovery for Kush Maini, who makes up places once again. It's Hauger being chased down by Hadjar, who finished 2.2 seconds away from him. For Shaw and Crawford complete the point scorers in a race that saw no red flags, no safety car, but brilliant driving from the young talent in the field. And it's tight to the line all the way to the end, and Doohan getting past Novalak on the line for 16th position. Another drag race. When you're fighting all the way through, you know it's classic F2. But this has been a statement weekend for Oliver Behrman.
Certainly has. The most impressive moment passed early on in that race. A driver as young as he is didn't fall apart, didn't lose his head, just got back on with it.
Slowest in lap of your life, and you made it! Yes!
Yes, guys, come on! Oh my God, what a weekend! What a weekend! Wow! The car was amazing. So good. Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Mate, nobody is quicker than Oliver Behrman in Baku. Mega job. That is a happy team. Championship challenge ignited. for the third place finisher in Formula 3 last year, a winner of Formula 4 in Germany. In the same season, he was the winner of Formula 4 in Italy. That is why he is signed to the Ferrari Academy, and he is delivered for them today. Is that the weekend that shows us the real talent of Oliver Bearman? Fast throughout, few errors in the opening 3 rounds. Round 4 belongs to him.
Yeah, driver who impressed people in the paddock even before this weekend with his pace. Has had a couple of moments through the year, but that was quite the performance.
What position did we finish? Position?
Are you driving good?
I swear I have no idea what position I finished. I don't know if it's P5, P6, P2, I don't know. What did I finish? Sorry, mate, I thought you were joking. P2. Yes! What the I have no idea. Yes!
We're going to need a pit board for that man at the next event. It's great news. It's not just good points. It's a place on the podium. First podium with Rodin Carlin for Enzo Fittipaldi. And a strong pass to get past Teo Pourchaire. Teo Pourchaire doing the business, though, getting himself on the podium. Important he didn't lose that podium to Victor Martins, and he maintained that all the way through. Great points for the championship as he outscores not only Iwasa, but Vesti as well to leapfrog.
They'll be thinking technically after this weekend about how they're going to keep the car together through the end of the stint. This is doable.
Yeah, quick bonus drag race for you. And there we go. Across the line, the clock is obviously reading 0.0, and we'll see in the full race classification how close that actually was. But that was getting past Clement Novalak in the, what must have been final metre. That must be thousands across the line.
Thank you, Baku. What a weekend.
Read that off the back of his guitar, didn't he?
Incredible stuff. Finishing line incident involving Novalak and Doohan has been noted for 2 moves, but that is the last work for race control to do. And he's getting used to parking there. Well, we have made a point of telling you that we've had lots of different winners. We only have 2 repeat winners in the championship this year, and you're looking at one of them, Oliver Bearman, needing a slice of fortune yesterday. No such luck required today. A weekend of absolute domination. Maximum stuff across the board, and he's only really 1 point away from sweeping everything up and back that he could have taken.
When these cars are right and these drivers are dialed in, they're really right. Now, if you watched Bahrain, you might say Teo Pourchaire's going to run away with this championship. If you watched Melbourne, you might say Yuma Iwasa's going to run away with this championship. You watch this event and you think Ollie Bearman's got this one taped. It changes weekend after weekend, but what's clear is when you have speed in these races, there really is no stopping you. Kept his head at the start and delivered a fine performance. Fittipaldi with a breakthrough drive for his season as well. The sequence of fastest laps he delivered through the middle of the race to then move out of Teo Pourchaire's DRS, and actually, if he hadn't have had to do so much racing to get back into contention, may well have been a problem for Bearman through to the end of the race, because he certainly had the pace in the late laps, whether Bearman was managing or not, but a really great drive from him.
Great scenes down there for Enzo Fittipaldi, the young Brazilian, celebrating with the flag. Teo Pourchaire knows the feeling of winning a feature race as a 17-year-old. He's just watching Oliver Bearman doing just that, but look, hard work out there as he has a glug of the water. Great scenes for the Red Bull Junior, even if he didn't know what he'd done when he crossed the line.
Shows you the focus, though. They're focused in on passing the driver ahead and defending from the driver behind, and that doesn't really change, does it? Whether you're second or 17th, it doesn't really change.
I am surprised he didn't have a glance at the big screens that you have around this circuit. There are plenty available. Let's hear now from our impressive drivers out there. They're speaking to Laura Winter in Parc Fermé.
Teo Pourchaire, 3rd place for you today, your 3rd podium of the season so far. How would you sum that one up? A short moment at the front with that overtake on Bearman as well.
Yeah, for sure. It was a nice race. You know, I gave my best. Um, we were not that quick this weekend, for sure. Prema and Oliver Berman, they were flying. Big weekend from them. Congrats to them. They were really quick, and we have some work to do, but we can be proud with P3 in quali. Again, another top three in quali, and a podium in the feature race, which is nice to have a few points. So yeah, I'm happy.
I know the pace may have been lacking, but you do have a decent points haul and you are now leading the standings in Formula 2, looking good going into the remainder of the season.
It feels really good. It's nice to be leading the championship after 4 rounds. Last year in Baku, I was so much disappointed. Was not feeling good. It was very hard mentally last year. Very, very down moments in my life. And right now, I'm leading the championship after Baku. So it's a big relief, and I'm really proud. We have some work to do, as I said. There's 3 test days in Barcelona coming up, and then we are back to Europe.
Hopefully during that testing you may find a bit of that pace that you say is lacking here.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was struggling a bit with the rear tires. I was really quick in the first few laps each time with the super stock and with the medium tires. But then, you know, I had a big moment, turn 12, I think it was behind Oliver. And after that, I felt that I was on the limit. And if I pushed more, yeah, I could crash the car. So I just wanted to bring back great points.
You did bring back great points. You were closing at the end on Enzo. Were you hoping to get a move in?
Yeah, sure. If he did a little mistake in the last corner, yeah, it was close, but nice battle with Oliver and Enzo. Also, my teammate was close to me in the last full lap, so it was a bit stressful, but yeah, it was okay. Nice race. Big thanks to the guys as well, to the team, and let's focus on the rest of the championship.
Well, congratulations, third place today, but leader of the F2 standings, Théo Pourchaire. And Enzo Fittipaldi joins us. A podium here, Enzo. You just heard Théo there enjoying the battle at the end. Were you enjoying it as much as he was probably looming in your mirrors?
Yeah, it was an amazing battle there at the end. I was able to make the move on Theo, and with I think 7 laps to go around the outside in turn 3. It was a bit risky, you know, to try and make a move there. But you know, he gave me room and there was a good battle between us. So I'm really happy about the result today. All I can do is, you know, thank the whole team. The car was sensational today. We were doing fastest lap after fastest lap, and honestly, I think if there was, a few more laps, I think we could have caught up to Oliver there at the end. So I'm just really happy. P2, good points. So yeah, very, very happy.
Your first podium of the season, first podium, therefore, for the team as well. And as you've said there, paying tribute to them, it must be a great feeling to be able to celebrate this one with them.
Yeah, it's been, it's been a tough start to the season. And yeah, to get this podium obviously gives us a big boost of confidence. We had a great qualifying here, P2, very close to Oliver, and a great race yesterday. We struggled a bit with the pace. Overnight, we tuned the car. I tuned some things in my driving that I needed to improve, and we came back out today, and I think we were the fastest car on track today. So yeah, I'm really happy about that.
The double for Ollie Bearman, though. It seems each race weekend we have a different driver dominating. It's great that you're up there, but just a word on him as a rookie coming in.
Yeah, he did an amazing job this weekend. Really impressive stuff. The 2 wins, 1 in the sprint and 1 in the feature. Congrats, man.
Who knows if it had been a bit longer, whether you may have caught him. It would have been quite the battle. Thank you very much, Enzo.
Thank you.
Well done to you. Second place for Enzo Fittipaldi. And we now bring in the man who has done the double, Ollie Bearman. I said yesterday, it might be on, mightn't it? You might get that feature race win, and here you are. With the feature race win, 1 overtake from Théo Pourchaire. You got the job done back on him. Talk me through that race and some of your emotions right now as a man who's done the double.
Yeah, so happy to do the double. Huge testament to the team. They gave me an amazing car all weekend. I think we topped every session, so we can be really proud with that, and it gives me a lot of confidence heading into the European races. About the race, first stint was a bit tough for me. I didn't really know how fast to go. You know, you have to get at least 6 laps out of these tires. Theo was pushing a lot. I saw one lap he went past, so I got him straight back, and then I knew how fast to go. The second stint I was pretty unchallenged. I was just managing my pace. Enzo was coming a bit fast at the end, but not enough to challenge. So yeah, mega race.
Lewis Hamilton, Nico Hulkenberg, Nico Rosberg, just three men who have also done a double on an F2 weekend. Ferrari are here standing, cheering you on behind the scenes. You've truly announced yourself in your rookie season on the stage here, Ollie.
Yeah, I've just started my championship campaign. First 3 rounds were quite difficult, so hopefully this is the start of some better results. Yeah, let's keep it up.
Congratulations to you. Our feature race winner, a double winner this weekend in Baku, Ollie Bearman.
So up to the podium go the top 3. And Teo Pourchaire and the little shark, as his fans call him, debriefing the race. Let's listen.
Exactly. And then I was a bit weak in the first part and was better.
Yeah. I struggled a bit.
That castle section every lap is like
Crazy. One time we were really close to the wall. I was scared.
I skimmed the wall like twice. I said, oh, this time I'm going to see it.
After it took me, I was like, okay, I need to go a bit faster. I was going a bit. Yeah, I started to struggle there. It was scary on the flat tires. Yeah. Like, turn 2 is very scary. Yeah, you get beat.
Was there some people waiting at the end for a safety car?
With the box?
Yeah.
I guess, because it was the box with like.
Roadblocks, Heidi Land.
You ahead. He was like, what? He said something about Fittipaldi. I'm like, how is he ahead?
Well, as they continue to debrief on about what they saw down there, we see once again Ferrari under the podium awaiting their young charger, and another weekend to remember in Baku.
Yeah, always have great racing here.
Start.
The nature of the circuit, the changes in the width of the circuit, challenge the drivers through that middle sector, and then provide the opportunity for drafting, overtaking down towards turn 1 and indeed turn 3. It's given us a fantastic set of Formula 2 races and an interesting result for several championship weekends.
Pourchaire in 3rd, a first podium with his new team for Enzo Fittipaldi, 7th in the championship, and it's all about the double winner. Oliver Bearman joins Rosberg, Hulkenberg, Valsecchi, Pantano, Piquet and Hamilton, along with Giovinazzi and last year's champion Dragovic, as a double winner in the 2nd tier. Well, they always tell you about Oliver Bearman that his adaptability is one of his greatest traits. And the last driver I heard that mentioned so much about was the man who won the title with that team. That was Oscar Piastri. So it's a key trait in modern motor racing that is so important. And the Prema team gave him the baseline setup. He really did look like, it did seem all the way through the weekend like this was very possible for him. But it's one thing to have the pace to do it, nothing to deliver in your rookie season.
Yeah, and change your driving style, because they do have to change their driving style so much around the limitations of what the teams can actually give them. Speaking of teams, Prema back on top in the team's point standings after a year, last year, where MT took that honour, but it's It's a return to the top for the team who've been the dominant team over so many years in this campaign.
The benchmark across the board in modern FIA Formula 2. Piastri and Leclerc to those titles, but it is Teo Porcher of ART, the new driver championship leader. But I tell you what, we've used this phrase a few more times, and I think it's going to come up a lot. This championship is wide open.
You look at maybe at this stage 6-7 drivers who are still close to the hunt. And then even still, everything can change. We're moving into the early mid-season of Formula 2. A lot of points still on offer. But so much depth and talent this year demonstrated down the field. And a new driver arises to surprise us in each round.
Well, we'll leave you with the picture that tells the story of the weekend there. Kramer on top, thanks to Oliver Behrman in qualifying and both races. Only by not taking fastest lap did he not score maximum points this weekend. Extraordinary stuff. One short of the maximum, but he did the double. What a performance, Oliver Behrman, the winner of both races this weekend. Enzo Fittipaldi with his first podium of the season. Teo Porcher, your new championship leader, with third. Victor Martins scoring his third points finish of the year. Then came Vesti, another great recovery from Kushmaini. Hauger from the back, 18th to 8th for Hadjar. Then Shaw and Crawford, the last of the point scorers. Then came Leclerc, Maloney, Awasa, our former championship leader, drops down to third. And then it's Correa, Darubala, Doohan, who pipped, what was it in the end? It was 100th of a second across the line ahead of Clement Nolak, Stanek, Nisani and Cordial at the top 20. Ralph Bosch on 21st, the only retirement, Brad Benavides. Isaac Hadjar took the 2 bonus points for fastest lap, so not quite a maximum for Oliver Behrman, but very, very close for our double winner. Thank you so much for your company across this Baku weekend. We have seen thrills, we have seen spills, we've had great insight from Alex Brundle as well. I hope you enjoyed the Grand Prix. We're back for Imola when FIA Formula 2 returns. Goodbye.
It felt like that race was going on forever, but really it wasn't. Right, how long have I been recording? What? I've been recording for an hour.